way to wager on all your favorite sports contests and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Now, find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Bet Online continues to be the top online resource for all sports information from live in-game betting props and futures. Head to Bet Online today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Now use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your 50%. Welcome your bonus on your first deposit. Now Bet Online is where the game starts.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Believe in Bills. Shout out to the guys over there at Bet Online. Shout out to everybody over at Believe. I am your host, Justice General Radford. To my right, I got the man, the myth, the legend. Legend in 2 games, no Pee-wee. Coach Muki Hawkins in the building. What's going on, Coach? How you doing, man?
I'm good. Look like Miami is in total control of this one. Game 7, by the way.
Yep, looks like Miami's going to do it after all. So, I mean, unless they have another meltdown, we saw the Lakers do it. But we'll save that talk for you guys on, WUFO 96.5. But
yeah, there won't be none now.
We got a guest with us today, my guy Jamal. How you doing today, Jamal?
What's going on? Doing great. A little disappointed the Celtics are not going to be going to the finals, it appears, but doing good.
They are definitely not going to be going to the finals. They made a valiant effort, though, but Jimmy Buckets is just looking like he's going to be a little too much. Yeah, I don't know, man. Them Celtics, man, that was a good little comeback. They scared them off a little bit, but no dice there. But we're going to go ahead and get into some Bills talk. Shout out to everybody who is tuning in to us live right now. First of all, we're going to start off with, there was somebody got released. It was a wide receiver. I can't think of his name. It's not, not really a big deal or anything. This DeAndre Hopkins was released from the Arizona Cardinals last week, and it sent the NFL into a little bit of a frenzy, even more than a frenzy than he was originally, asking for a trade, because he had a contract that came with him. There were assets that had to be given back for him, and it made things a little dicey. Now, with him being a free agent, he is free to do whatever he pleases. He says he's looking for a quote-unquote significant contract. He says he wants a quarterback that loves the game, team with a serviceable defense, and a team with good managerial, just front office executives, right? Hey, Coach, was DeAndre Hopkins trying to subliminally tell us something, or what's your thoughts on this?
Well, there's a few teams that fit that mold. Obviously, the big dogs of the division, Chiefs, Ravens, Bills. There's been some speculation on Cleveland being a dark horse because of the familiarity with, Deshaun Watson. The Jets have dibbled and dabbled a little bit into Mr. Hopkins' affairs, and as well as the Philadelphia Eagles. So, hopefully by tomorrow we still should find out something. It's been relatively quiet over this weekend in reference to D-Hop, but everybody is still saying that, the Bills are the favorite. So I want to see. I definitely want to see, are they the favorite? I'll see when, a restructure happens. Because right now the Bills is dealing with $1.6 million of cap space left. So only way that's going to happen if a restructure happens. And again, DeAndre Hopkins can sign for whatever, he can sign for the veteran minimum right now if he want to just be a Bill. It's totally up to him. So we'll see, what's more important to him, the money or, still getting a nice bag and competing for a Super Bowl. So we'll see. in the coming days of who is vying for Mr. Hopkins' services.
Now I gotta ask you, Coach. Let's pretend you weren't the number one Buffalo Bills media insider or anything like that,
Oh,
right?
come on, man.
Let's pretend you wasn't him. You know what I mean? Who do you think, objectively speaking, is the best fit for DeAndre Hopkins?
Well, I mean, he's a fit for a lot of teams. I mean, he definitely can fit the Bills. He definitely can fit the Chiefs. He definitely can fit the Ravens. I just, he with him paired with it would be nice to see. I mean, we're going to get that anyway. Wherever DeAndre Hopkins goes, he's finally going to be paired with a running mate, more or less. So
If he goes to KC,
well, he still got Kelsey, so I mean that's still considered a passing duo. So Baltimore be scary, Buffalo be super scary, and Chiefs. Again, long shot for Eagles, long shot for Jets. But they do have some pieces, so yeah, something to really consider. Um, Depends on who's going to offer the most money and who really has a strong shot of winning it. So I guess what the powers of both worlds. I mean, if I could get 15 million and still play, for the team I want to play for, that'd be super great. A la Bills, a la Kansas City, but it may be a team like the Chargers, that makes something work as well. So we'll see in the next couple of days. What's really going to happen with D Hop and are the Bills are really going to push the envelope. I mean, it's a lot of questions surrounding that. If you do sign D Hop for, let's just say, an OBJ deal of 15 million this year, what does that have to, how, what are you going to do with Gabe Davis? Are you going to sign him to big money? So, it's a lot of things to think about. But hey, lock him up, lock Gabe up for a couple more years too, and now Josh have all his weapons together for at least 3 years. So they just kind of like kept the window open at least for the next three. Everybody be under contract. So that's what I'm thinking. If they can make it work that way, get DeAndre Hopkins in the fold as well as extend Gabe Davis, man, that offense will have to be touched. And then now you can focus solely on getting the pieces you need on the defensive side because the offense clearly will be set with D Hop in the mix.
yeah, absolutely. Now, Jamal, let me ask you this, right? 3 years ago, this is the consensus best wide receiver in the NFL, right? Couple years go by, couple trades happen, um, injuries happen, some suspensions because of PEDs, just things have happened, right? And it's no longer he's clear cut number one. Not to say that he ever was clear cut number one, but a lot of people, a majority might tell you he was number one 3 years ago. Today, that may not be the case. First of all, how do you feel about the prospect of him joining the Buffalo Bills? And where would you rank him in the wide receiver in the NFL today?
Whew. We're gonna rank him. I'd probably have him somewhere between 3 and 5. I'd say definitely Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams right on my top two. I'd probably put Jefferson and Diggs have to be somewhere 3 and 4. So probably a 5. I put D Hop. I'd just be great if we got him. This be the move to truly. I mean, the offense is set. If this isn't the offense that gets to the Super Bowl, then what will? Having Stephon Diggs and D Hop and Knox and Kincaid. I think he's going to be to the Bills if Brandon Beane wants him on the Bills. We have the room to restructure some contracts to give him the money that could quite please him. So, if the Beane is serious about this and serious about, getting a Super Bowl, right now, then he's going to make that move and he will be a Buffalo Bill. But, if we're kind of worrying about stuff like Gabe Davis contract, some stuff in the future, then, he may go to a team like the Ravens or the Jets or the Chiefs or, another team.
Now, how much is Arizona paying D Hop this year?
I want to say, don't quote me on this, but maybe close to 20-ish million. I don't know.
22 million, right? Right. They didn't cut him, so he ended up getting that. So I mean, hey, he said, you know what, man, I'll play 1 year, 8 million on guarantee. You never know what deal he can make. He can make his own deal. I mean, he can make his own deal. He don't have to be necessarily want to max out, to play for the team that he desires. Maybe I don't know at this point a bag ain't really an issue. With him, a
Coach,
bag is an
let
issue.
me ask you this real quick, Coach, because I'm interested. Now, I haven't been the nicest person in the world to Ken Dorsey, but you are a proponent of going all in, as you would say, right? You don't want to be, you know, the 29th or the 30th or the 31st pick in every year's draft, because you almost got there, but you never won the whole thing, even though you have a good team every year. That's not something you're interested in. You are more concerned with, you would rather win one and then, just that be it. But you want to get over the hill, right? So looking at this potential, you would have Stephon Diggs, Dalton Kincaid, who is, a lot of people expect him to be 2 or 3 as far as, reception shares, right? You have Gabriel Davis. Then you would also have a DeAndre Hopkins. Not to mention the speedy guys you got in Hardy and Sherfield to bring in. You got Khalil Shakir, a guy who could very well be making his, step up this year in this offense. You got Dawson Knox again. Dawson Knox again. He's still a threat downfield as well as, in the middle of the field. And this isn't even, I'm going to leave the run game out of it because you got all these weapons I just mentioned. You also have a run game. And then, or you also have valuable running backs. You have them. And then you have maybe the most dangerous weapon in the entire NFL in Josh Allen. This would essentially be the Bills going all in if they were to attain DeAndre Hopkins. What happens if they do not win this year and it is due to the offense?
Well, I mean, you still got to chop out the bit. That's my guess is. I mean, third time's a charm. I don't think that anything will happen with Dorsey. Year 3, guys will still be under contract to take another stab at it. I don't think anything will happen, unless the offense just goes left. I mean, they had the number 2 team in total offense last year, and number 2 in scoring. So, I mean, anything other than that is not good. Two again is not good. It's not good enough.
That scares me is I think that number 2 is going to look good on Dorsey's ledger, but I don't know if it was all Dorsey. I feel like having Josh Allen as your quarterback was, already going to get you a very good number as far as efficiency and production, from the offensive standpoint, right? So if there is a lack of creativity, the only thing that I would ask you that kind of scares me, right? If he does show a lack of creativity in year 2, and the offense still looks good because they have weapons and a really good quarterback, but play calling is lacking, would you really want Josh Allen to be playing well into the prime of his career at this point with an offensive coordinator who doesn't seem to be able to get it done?
Well, probably not. Probably not. Josh Allen needs a more seasoned guy, that's going to help his game evolve. Right now, Josh and Dorsey, they have to evolve together. It's not nothing that, Dorsey hasn't been through that Josh hasn't been through, So the experience is like, well, hell, Josh got more experience than Dorsey because he's been, play calling more, for 7 years now. So, Dorsey just began calling plays. So Josh has an advantage over him in that. And you saw the inexperience at times, that really stuck out like a sore thumb with this high-powered offense that the Bills did have. So we'll just have to see if he fixed those, those eyesores that was super problematic within the Bills offense that sometimes, had you scratching your head.
Yeah, for sure. I got one more question before we move on for you. I'm gonna ask Jamal first, and then Mook, I want you to follow up after. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being Andy Reid, 10 being Nathaniel Hackett, or he's already fired, 10 being Brandon Staley or Josh McDaniels. How hot is Sean McDermott's seat, Jamal?
This year, or if we like fail to win the Super Bowl this year?
If we fail to win a Super Bowl this year,
I mean, if he gets there, I don't think it's it's like a 2 or a 3. But if we lose before we get into the Super Bowl again, I think it's about probably 6.5, 7. I think the discussions have to be have to at least start. I would say the interesting stat is every quarterback coach combo in the history of the NFL, they've always won a Super Bowl within their first 5 years of being together. Obviously, Sean McDermott and Josh Allen are past that, so the odds are against them. They would have to do that. But I thought that was just an interesting stat. Doesn't mean Sean McDermott's a bad coach or anything. It just he may not be the right coach to get us over the hump. And maybe he may do that with a different team, different quarterback. But if he fails to get to the Super Bowl again this year with another great roster around him, and specifically if it's on another defensive lap, which we had the past couple seasons, whereas heartbreaking defensive losses are just mind-boggling. Like, what are we doing? What's our defensive plan in these season-ending games? I think his seat has to get a little sizzling.
Okay. What about you, Coach?
I'm gonna say 4. I don't think his job will be in jeopardy unless they just start exposing this defense. Like if teams picked up where they left off and really start exposing this defense, and the Bills start off 2-2, or they don't start off great, and the heat of your schedule hasn't even you ain't even got to that yet. It's something to ponder, but I don't think that'll be the case. I don't think anybody gets fired. Not just yet. It'll probably make the seat a little spicy for next season, but I don't think I'll be shocked if Dorsey or McDermott is let go because of not getting the job done.
Okay. All right, fair enough. All right, guys, we got some football royalty in the building now as nephew of our show, right tackle Brandon Shell from Miami. This guy 6'5", 325 pounds, big body. He is now a member of the Buffalo Bills as of today. Now, we've been talking about Spencer Brown, and a lot of people want him to get some competition. They don't want him to just, think that his job is safe going into the season as our right tackle after, the performance he displayed last year. What does this signing mean for the Buffalo Bills, Jamal?
I think it's just a good sign just to have some depth at the tackle position. That was kind of thin, going into OTAs and training camp. So just another body there that, capable of playing that position, well. I think, in the past where we've, had, even if the line's been questionable at times, the depth has been, not there. And so, one guy goes down, now we're shuffling, he has to go here and here and here. And, we have a weak spot on this part of the line or whenever we see this guy just being turned to a turnstile by, going average, average defensive ends in the league. So it's just good that we have, solid depth at that position. Glad that he's signed with the Bills.
Coach, what does this mean? What does this signing mean for the Bills?
Well, I mean, they're making sure that it's going to be pretty interesting to see. Now the Bills have 17 linemen up front, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see how many linemen do they keep and which lineman makes this team. So, finally got some competition, at the right tackle spot. So Quesenberry, now Shell, and to push Bishop Brown to see, what are the Bills really getting out of Spencer this year. You know, his third year, next year will be his last year in the contract. So the Bills need to know what are they getting out of Spencer Brown. Is it time to move on from him, or or does he rise to the occasion with competition at his spot? So it's gonna be pretty interesting. I do love the fact that Brandon Bean is getting back to some of the elements that got the Bills this far. I'm making sure that they do have a competitive roster and really getting back to that. So they have definitely made this one hell of a competitive roster. Still got some ways to go, but especially up front, they is locked and loaded now with Brandon Shell being on board.
Taking a look at Schnell, something really, really strikes my eye. When you look at him, he's 6'5", 325 pounds. Osiris Torrance, 6'5", 331 pounds. What do you think about the Bills seemingly making an effort to be a lot bigger in the trenches here this season, Coach?
Well, they're doing a good job. You want to start protecting your $43 million investment in Josh Allen, and this is what they are. They're a passing team, so you got to go and get guys that can keep the quarterback clean. So this is where I'm at with that. The common denominator with all the linemen that the Bills acquired, they keep the quarterback clean. So that's been a point of emphasis when you look at the 2 draft picks. The first team all SEC guys, played the best competition, played the best pass rushers in LSU, Georgia, Alabama, every week, Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky. So they play the best, of the best. And for the Bills to have 2 first team all SEC guys, out of this draft, speaks volume on that. McGovern is another guy who likes to keep the quarterback clean. And, so Bills are a passing team. They're all in on protecting QB1 for sure.
Yeah. Sarah Christine is in the comments spitting some fire. She's making some really good points. And I do want to get back to that, Sarah. Everything you're speaking of, I kind of want to get back to that. But before we do, we're going to finish up our trench talk here. I mentioned the Bills looking to get bigger in the trenches, right? And we talked about one side of the ball there on the offense. And on the other side of the ball, there is still a key piece sitting there in the middle of the defensive line. Really good player. Maybe isn't the best scheme fit for us. And maybe we aren't using him in the most conducive manner to him thriving in this league. What are the odds that we could see Ed Oliver not on this team by the trade deadline, Jamal?
If I had to look out of 100%, I'd say probably like 30 or 20. He is a good player, has some flashes for sure. Probably not the perfect system he's playing in. Definitely needs, players around him to have his full impact. But also not quite what the Bills wanted for being such a high draft pick. They kind of went out of the position. So I don't think he's in the team's long-term plans. But at this point, I don't think he's traded before the trade deadline. I'd have to say that's probably like a 30% chance at this point.
So you think they're going to keep Ed Oliver, or do you think they're just going to let him walk?
I think they're going to just let him walk at the end of the year.
Jamal, don't tell me that. Jamal, don't. Listen, I know you were still at school when the whole Tremaine Edmonds thing went down, but please don't talk like that on this program, okay? I can't take another one of our stars just walking out the door for nothing, all right? I will have a connection. Coach, what are the chances that Ed Oliver is still on this roster at the trade deadline?
I'll say 65%.
So you think he's staying too? You think they're gonna let him walk?
Oh no, I mean
65% he's gone.
Yeah, 65%. I'll say. I mean, because we can't keep letting them walk out our life. Like we can't keep doing that, So
yeah, no.
It's interesting because Tim Settle's not going anywhere. He's locked under contract. Like if the Bills cut him, they still have to pay him the $4 million. So he's locked in on a roster. You just signed Point Ford. Daquan Jones may be looking like he's going to get an extension. Jordan Phillips, and I'm missing one more guy. But yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how that rotation shakes out with Point Ford and Ed Oliver. You paying Point Ford $3 million, and you paying Ed Oliver $11 million, and his market value is anywhere between 10 to 14 million. You're not going to have that in cap room. You don't have it now, so you're not going to have it next season to sign him. So, I mean, I love Ed Oliver, but the business side of me is saying, hey, how can I move this guy, to get something for him, instead of a compensatory pick like we did with the Bears when we lost Tremaine. So, you got to get something, for him. I'm hearing some crazy trade with Dallas. I don't think that it will happen, but you never know. Minnesota Vikings could be vying for his services. I thought at one point that Arizona would, but they didn't. I think they addressed it in the draft and moved on. So just have to wait and see if they do able to free up some cash before the season. Then obviously we know. That's to free up to sign D Hop. So all of this may be 6 degrees of separation of that. Just have to stay tuned.
Jamal, if Tremaine Edmonds would have been traded for a 3rd-round pick, what would you have said?
I would have been shocked at the time because I didn't expect him to be traded at all. I expected that we would have kept him because of how big he was.
But let's say you knew there was no way we was possibly re-signing Tremaine Edmonds. They knew there was no way, and they traded him away, and they got back a 3rd-round pick. What's going through your head?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Mike kind of lagged up.
I'm saying if the Bills knew there was no way they could keep Tremaine Edmonds, and we all knew it, and they traded him away and got back a 3rd-round pick from Chicago, how would you feel?
I feel good. I'd feel good.
You feel see.
If we knew we couldn't cap him, we got a 3rd-round pick, I'd feel good.
Nah, I'm sorry, I disagree.
Yeah, I mean, you could at least get at least a 2nd-round pick for him, but I guess you have no choice but to take the 3rd. Got no choice.
Yeah. But nah, they better not.
Put in a tough situation. I mean, why would I give you a 2nd as a GM for that?
Nah.
I mean, if you want to pay $84 million for a dude, you are probably willing to give up at least a 2nd for him.
Right. I mean, if he's got to walk anyway at the end of the year, I mean, I kind of got you in a tough situation.
Gotta move him. Get maximize your value at least. And I don't think the Bills maximize the value because they were pegging on winning a Super Bowl when it's cool to win a Super Bowl at that point because now we won a Super Bowl with this guy. So now we could let him go ahead and get his bag. It's just a match made in heaven. I win the Super Bowl, I ride off into the sunset, go get my bag and play on somewhere else. So that didn't happen. That didn't happen. So now it's like, damn, how do you keep this band together? Not able to keep the band together because, due to salary cap and, business dealings. And, it's time to move forward with guys that's on the roster and it's time to bring new guys in. So, that happens every year, so it was just time that you're going to start seeing core pieces that help build, the success of this franchise are slowly but surely going to be moving on somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, fellas, let's get into what the brilliant Sarah was saying. She said something. I'm going to read, the prequel, if you will, to the statement that I thought was interesting. She says, "I'd be lying if I said I'm not also a little bit worried about Dorsey. I think his inexperience was obvious by midseason. Josh outplayed his system a lot, in my opinion." My opinion as well, Sarah. She also said, not taking anything away from Mahomes, But even without Hill, KC was at the top of the league in yak. If it's not the receivers, then it's the scheme. Reed can scheme guys open. And Dorsey, I don't know. I'm going to ask you, Coach. Now, I'm not expecting them to be able to scheme guys open the way Reed can, because obviously Reed is going to be first ballot Hall of Famer for a reason. He is one of the best to ever do this, and that is indisputable at this point. But do you think that Dorsey will be able to at least, fill the gap a little bit between the distance between the play calling for the Chiefs and the play calling for the Bills?
He can't control that. Andy Reid, like you said, is a Hall of Famer. So Dorsey is nowhere near that capacity of a coach. When we're trying to compare the two, Andy Reid is who he is for a reason. I mean, he started out kind of like how McDermott was. Was very good, but didn't win the big one, and then he ended up leaving Philly, going to Kansas City, and having that success, and got over the hump, learning from those mistakes. So, Andy Reid is one of the best at adjustments that I ever seen. Like, in order to beat Andy Reid, you have to adjust. You have to counter adjust his adjustment. That's how you beat Andy Reid, because he's going to have something prepared for you second half of a game or whatever. He's going to keep that play in his back pocket and present it at the right time, catch you. Dorsey has so much fire to go being on that type of level when we talking about Andy Reid and Dorsey. But, yeah, Sarah's definitely right. The scheme – really says all. Josh was making those plays. I mean, it was Josh would roll out, and just throw a bomb, basically. And that was just making a play. It wasn't a play that was, called. It was just he made a play. It wasn't like they were well executed plays. Some were, but a lot of them were just Josh making a play, and that's not good enough in the playoffs. So, learning to have balance this year, definitely going to be a question I'm going to ask him tomorrow. He will be at the podium. So, I got some questions I need to ask Dorsey to see, what has he learned? I'm asking to critique himself, year one. So, I need to know all of that stuff going into year two, and how his everything is going to evolve. How did he evolve as a play caller year two with, a more balanced attack, So you got your tight end now. You got your scheme. Hopefully you may see D-Hop in this, but he still got enough to, I think, still make it to a Super Bowl without D-Hopkins.
Okay. All right. Let's hear from Jamal what his answer is.
Yeah, obviously I'm probably the most adamant Dorsey defender out of the bunch. Of course, he's not going to be, Andy Reid's Andy Reid for a reason. Even some of the other leagues, like Sean Payton, those guys are Hall of Fame, some of the best offensive minds the game has seen. Like, Dorsey's not going to be that. He won't be that, probably ever. That's kind of unrealistic expectation. Now, were there some problems with this scheme? Yeah, he had a great start to the year. Teams started getting some film on us, started kind of figure us out. Probably wasn't the best at adjusting that lane this season. Again, I think more of the problem was more on execution of the players. It's kind of hard to have a scheme sometimes when your line is, a turnstile. Run game is kind of inconsistent. Josh had the elbow injury. His arm wasn't quite the same as, at the beginning of the year, or even last year going to the playoffs, where it just seemed like he wasn't missing any throws out there, to where the second half of the year he was leaving quite a few throws out there. So, again, I think it just has to do more with just player execution. Another year in the system. Josh mentioned it. Having his eyes in certain locations. Just another year of continuity and better execution. And Dorsey being a year two of play caller, I expect him to get better. And so I expect good things going to the Bills offense for year two. I think some of the problems with him, maybe a little bit from Bill's Twitter, is probably just a little bit overstated. I don't think it was nearly as bad as some may have said.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like that was a shot at me. No, it's fine. But I'm definitely one of his bigger. And you know what it is? It almost feels like that hurt you feel when you trust somebody. You know what I mean? Like, I was one of those people who was singing his praises. I was, Dorsey, Brady, and Shula all together. Our offense about to be crazy. And, then I was vindicated 4 weeks in, and I was like, oh, I told y'all this was going to happen. And then all of a sudden it just – so, I'm a little jaded in that regard, I will admit. But I do hope to see Dorsey pick it up this year because he certainly has the weapons to do so. And I think Kincaid was a home run hit, and I will be very interested to see if Dorsey is going to be able to utilize him in a way that makes him look like it. All right, fellas, before we get up out of here, we're going to go ahead and do final thoughts for tonight. So whatever in the world you want to let us know, whatever is on your heart, let the people know. And, get it off your chest. So I'm going to let you go first, Coach. What's on your thought? Moment with Muki.
DeAndre, what in the hell are you doing, man? Hurry up inside and get this thing over with. You say you love Josh Allen. You want to play with Josh. You're making all types of body language smirks and all that stuff. Come on to Buffalo and be the reason why the Bills win the Super Bowl instead of going to Kansas City where they already winning them. So you ain't doing nothing but riding a wave, buddy. Come on over here and create your own wave over here in Buffalo. So the hell are you waiting on?
Yeah, you go to Kansas City and you helped us get a Super Bowl out of the 3 we have, right? You come to Buffalo, you getting a statue, dog, because we putting up a whole statue and a whole roster if they it's gonna be crazy. Jamal, I can't think of nothing right on the spot, but jamming with Jamal or something, I don't know. We'll think about it later. Something that's on your heart that you want to talk about, that you want to let the people know about, or you just want to mention. What's up, man?
For sure, definitely. Beam, stop playing around and get Hopkins on this roster. And then 2 would be, this is going to be kind of a boring finals, y'all. It's going to be Denver in 5. We're going to explain on this show in a couple of days, but this is not going to be a great finals for the league. I'm sorry.
We'll have to see on that one.
Yeah, I don't know about Denver.
We'll have to see. We'll say that for Wednesday night, late night sports. Come check us out.
We might have put pizza on that one. We're going to see. But all right, fellas, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Big shout out to the guys over at Believe, as well as Bet Online. Shout out to the legendary WUFO 96.5 1080 AM. For my dog, Muki Hawkins, and my guy, Jamal Harris, I am Justice General Radford. And thank you guys so much for all the support. You guys know we appreciate every like, comment, subscription, retweet, repost, share. All the love you guys give us is greatly appreciated. Coach, hey man, you want to go ahead and send us on, man?
Bills get D-Hop. Do you believe?
Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports contests and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Now, find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Bet Online continues to be the top online resource for all sports information, from live in-game betting props and futures. Head to Bet Online today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Now, use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your 50%. Welcome your bonus on your first deposit. Now, Bet Online is where the game starts.